everybody. Welcome to Wednesday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. I'm here with the comedian known as Fig, comedian known as Talent, and my man Stacks with the facts. He's up in here too. We ain't seen him in a while. You guys know the comedians. They've been in the comedy game for a long time. They've been in some comedy films, some festivals, traveled the world. Now they're even in something that we call a comedy sports talk show. So, gentlemen, how you doing today?
A-okay, Frank. A-okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, me I do good, man. Very good. Me love the way Stacks come out the basement to do the show today.
You hear me? Stack, first of all, before you jump into it, how you doing, bro? We ain't seen you in a while. How's everything?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm just been doing a little bit of traveling. I just got to Atlanta last night from Florida, and my birthday's on Friday, also. I'm gonna be 22 finally. You know. So,
all right, yeah.
You know, give me the early birthday.
I suggest you go down and get some sweet little lemon pepper wings since you're in Atlanta.
Absolutely.
All right,
absolutely.
Let's jump into the show. For the first jump off, we got to talk about there's been a confirmation that Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul are definitely going to have that fight on June 6th, but now it's been locked in for Miami, and of course, as we all know, it's locked in for potential pay-per-view. I don't know the prices yet. I'm looking forward to find that out. I'm gonna start with you, Talent, and say, we talked about Floyd Mayweather, and we talked about this Logan Paul fight. I don't know about you, but I don't think I'm gonna pay for this at all. But a fight is a fight.
Well, I don't never pay for these fights. I think the last time I paid for these fights, we had some good heavyweight joints going on. So these fights right here, I find the person who did pay for it and mooch off of them. But clearly, Floyd is bored, and I knew it was going to happen. You know, unfortunately, we live in a different time where these super athletes are able to retire and still be dumb young. Right. You know, in the real world, retirement means what? 65, 70. These guys have the luxury of retiring. They'd be like 30. They'd be like,
right.
I want to fight Mr. Peebles from Magilla Gorilla. He's bored.
Yeah, not to mention they got millions upon millions of dollars, and they bored because they can retire that early and not even spend all the money they made. Fig, what you think?
I think Tom done lost his damn mind, Mr. Peebles. I want to fight little OG. Listen, man, this is a money grab for Floyd, man, because this kid, man, I think his last fight he may have got like 14 million or something like that, upwards of that kind of money. And Floyd was like, yo, if he could get that kind of money just on his own name, imagine how much money we could make if I attach myself to it. And the way Floyd loves his money. I mean, what's his name? Money Mayweather. Yeah. So if he sees a chance to make some money, Floyd's all in, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. Stack, what you think?
I mean, it's a money grab, man. That's really it. Just like Fake said, he's Floyd Money Mayweather. He's bored, like Talent said. I mean, this ain't even a surprise to me.
Yeah, it's not a surprise to me either at all. Let me talk to the other hot topic this morning is that I don't know if you guys have heard, but that Kendrick Kamoshe is now going to be the first black jockey since 2013 in the Kentucky Derby. And right now, people are expecting him in the top 3 to possibly win this thing and everything. Talent, black men are making some strides in sports again, even though it's 2021. You got to be kind of proud of this guy. When you say Talent, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I'm proud of him. I'm always proud of these, what we call black strides. When I hear of a black jockey, I get a little nervous because I say the worst thing that can happen, you fall off that horse, and that leg get caught and that lasso, that rope. We've seen this Western before.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why, but it comes in my head. But I think we are a fabric in the country. Let's keep it real. We are an internal fabric and thread through this country from its inception, and we should be seen everywhere and anything. Like, even if black people in black communities don't watch, horse racing, whatever, somebody does. And we should be represented in whatever people are watching or doing anything. You go to a store, you should be a mix of people because America's mixed as hell. I say kudos, man. I see another stride made by a black person. I appreciate seeing us everywhere.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. Fig, what's your thoughts?
You know, I thought to myself when I hear jockey, you know, those are small people, and I forgot, you know, after being such a big fan of the NBA and super tall, you know, black men, it just surprised me that that there are small black men small enough to be jockeys. I thought that he was probably a part of the pygmy tribe because we had some pygmies and they were small from back in Africa. So I think he's probably a descendant from one of the original pygmies, and he made his way over here from Africa just to ride horses.
Stack, what's your thoughts?
No, I think it's good. Actually, I think black jockeys need a lot more attention. I have one of my older cousins, Charlie Davis. He actually was a trainer for Secretariat, the horse. And
oh wow!
Even though he was black, he was the black jockey that would train the horse. He never was in the races. So I think they should pay a lot more attention to that because there's a lot of black people that are involved in the whole horse breeding business, and they don't get any attention at all.
Yeah, like we all know that's a multi-million-dollar business. You gotta have it's one of them games where you got to play. You gotta have millions just to get in, to get through the door.
Yeah,
that's
man. Hey, yo, Stacks, one of my favorite movies, man. Every time that movie comes on, I find myself in front of the TV watching it, man. Secretariat, man.
Yep.
Love that movie, man.
Yep.
All right, let me move on to the next topic. Is that I don't know if you guys heard about this story, but Conor McGregor, he sold the majority of his whiskey brand, Proper Number 12, to Proximio Sport for $600 million. Now, we all know that these guys don't make a lot of money, but when you hear that he cashed out, telling his brand, you know, he took his brand to another level just to even get the game to play with the whiskey thing, and now flipped it to $600 million. When you hear that, what's your thoughts?
Well, I wonder, does it help us? I mean, I always love to see somebody cash out and make a guap. But with all these things that we're creating now, does it help or hurt us if we sell them out? Like, when we look at these things, like even Jay-Z, when he got into the streaming and all these people, Byron Allen gets into the TV markets and the radio markets, Bob Johnson with BT. If at the end game is to sell it out completely anyway, back to the opposite constituents, are we helping or hurting the long run? I'm confused on that part. You know what I mean? I'm always glad to see somebody get some guap and come up, but that's the only question I would ask. You know what I mean? But hey, individual wise, he good money.
I'm trying to tell you. I mean, that's how you come up. I mean, you take your brand and you use your brand to help build up another brand, and then cash out. You don't have to sit on it for a long time. You know, which is big.
I think it's absolutely amazing. You would think that an MMA fighter, they don't get paid like, you know, an insurmountable amount of money, and then we thought that Conor McGregor's big payday was when he fought Floyd Mayweather and made millions of dollars. It was like, well, listen, after making that kind of money, will he ever fight again? And you know, now to go and sell his liquor brand for $600 million. You know what $600 million is? I mean, another $400 million. That's $1 billion in just like one payday. So kudos to him, man. That's that. Woo! What a come up.
Listen, one more power play move like that, and he could be a billionaire. He could be the first MMA fighter to be a billionaire. You know, one more power play move. You know what I mean? Stack, what's your thoughts?
You know, I kind of agree with Talon's question about, like, is it better to keep it or let it go? I think it's good for Conor and his brand and just his pockets at the end of the day. But had he been a brother, you know, I probably would have different feelings because I feel like we should kind of keep our stuff so that we can have some equity, like economically, because we always like selling out so we don't own anything and then we consuming other people's stuff. You know, Conor's an Irish guy. He made an Irish whiskey brand. You know, he's kind of still keeping it within his community to some degree, even if it's just spreading the culture and on top of that, he's bringing money into his community. But like Talon said, you know, sometimes, you know, you need to hold these things, you know, just just so that you can have some equity in the game as opposed to just selling out for cash all the time, because inflation is crazy. Like, look at how 600 million like a year ago would have meant a lot more to me than what it looks like now. So it just makes you question.
I hear what you're saying. You do make a good point. Talent makes a good point too. But let's be honest. If you're on one side of the track and you've made $15 to $20 million, and you could cash out and make $600 million, it'd be hard for anybody to be like, you know what? Let me not add that extra $600 million to my bank account. Even though I'm sure.
But I mean, I'm looking at it like this. Frank. Think about it like this.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Even though if you have 30, 40 million, you have everything that you could have wanted. I get that. Because if you have 30, 40 million dollars, what else can you buy that you don't already have with another 600 million? But go ahead.
Then why cash out? But then why cash out if the greater good? I can see if you're putting all this work into this thing that you lose faith in. Let's say you lose faith in it and you don't believe in it no more. Then you get a lucky offer and you say, "Let me get the hell out of here because I don't think this thing gonna go anywhere." But when you build these big machines and it's coming from this side of the gate, it makes a bigger impact overall. But when we sell it, I think that we're back to square one, if not even a little worse than where we were, because all that opportunity gets bought out again. Like BET, when that happened with BET, I literally was in the middle of that and watching it up close and personal, how it affected so many lives.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody lost their job. And you had to go from having a job in a career to a freelancer. And that shook all those black workers, cameramen, producers, directors, writers. It changed their whole life. I'm talking families, hundreds of families.
Yeah, I agree. The one part that, and I'll make this really short. The one thing that I do agree with is Stacks is that if Conor McGregor was a black man, I think I'd feel a little differently about it too, because we're the one nationality that needs to be able to build a little more than other communities, because it seems like our community doesn't really own anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at the end of the day, we all making a great argument and everything else, but if $600 million is staring you down in your pocket, it's kind of hard to ignore that. I mean, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to ignore. It sounds great coming from all of us right now, but if somebody was like, listen, here's your 30 million right now, and now you could add $600 million, it's kind of, I don't know.
That's our problem, bro. That's why 90% of black automobile accidents get settled. Nobody goes for what they're worth. Meanwhile, 10 years down the line, you wonder why you're back locked up, and because you didn't do all the proper things you could have did, because they put that number in front of you and you say, shit, because you ain't limping right now.
Right.
That number.
All right, you know what? At the end of the day, we can talk about it, but we don't have the 30 million and we don't have the 600 million. So who knows, right? Who knows?
Hey, listen, I don't know about you, and I don't know about talent. I never even know about me, but I'm not so sure about Stacks. Stacks might have that, man. They don't call him stacking over for nothing.
Stack do be stacking and traveling all across the country. You know what I mean? He do be traveling. Let's talk about Antonio Brown, man. Antonio Brown is this morning I saw the news. He re-signed with Tampa Bay for 1 year contract for $6.25 million. He also got a $2 million signing bonus. And with that, it looks like Tampa Bay is the only team in NFL history, talent, to bring back all 22 of their starters after they've won a Super Bowl. So
I told you they were going to do it. I told you that, they were going to work that out. See, nowadays, the signing bonus has saved a lot of contracting careers, because that's the difference of somebody may say to you, I don't want to give you 40, man, I'm going to give you 20. But if I put the other 20 in a signing bonus, you got the 40. You know what I mean? So I became the savior of the thing. So I knew one way in fashion that they were going to work this out and get all those players back. They wasn't about to break up the band so fast. Okay.
What's your thoughts, Vic?
It makes a lot of sense. This particular time, I would call that the Tom Brady effect, because the fact that Tom Brady is played so many years in the NFL, pretty much on the tail end of his career, and is willing to take less money to have other people and other players around him, it sort of frees up the organization to be able to do more. And the fact that Tom Brady doesn't really necessarily have anything to play for other than a championship, because let's face it, anything other than a Super Bowl for Tom Brady is a bust because he has what 7. That's the only reason that Tom Brady is playing, other than win, more Super Bowls. I mean, because he could have left the game 3-4 years ago and still be considered the GOAT. So this is the Tom Brady effect, freeing up a lot of capital, a salary cap for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be able to sign those guys and say, yo, let's bring the band back.
Yeah, because here's a fact. The fact is that they have a great chance of winning another Super Bowl with bringing back everybody. I mean, an excellent chance, better than an average chance. Stack, you went out. I was about to throw it to you. Stack, you there?
Stack said this way he draw the line. He out of here.
Well, we talk about Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
We talking about giving money back. That's just like not me.
I'm out of here. Talk about Tom Brady. It's probably just an internet Wi-Fi problem.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's continue on. I'm gonna talk about something else. I want to move on to the NBA because I was gonna have Stack talk about that for a second. I'm move on to the NBA. Quick question, quick moment. And here's what I know. I know that Michael Jordan was a huge NBA athlete, one of the best, stars in the game. To me, considered the best of all time, no doubt about it. But what I did not know was, after I read an ESPN article last night, was that the New York Knicks was plotting, literally, and they had made a secret attempt to lure Michael Jordan from the Bulls to the Knicks. So my question to you guys is, of course, after we hear, how great, we know how great Michael Jordan is and everything else, what is the thought process that goes through your mind, Talent, when you know that Jordan almost came to the Knicks in the 90-91 season? What's your thoughts just on hearing that?
I tell you one thing, it would have got messed up anyway if it leaked out back then. We would have lost our mind. New York has a hate-love relationship for Mike. Mike was born in New York. So, we have that connection there, and obviously all those battles, but don't forget the hate side. There's a strong hate side where a real Knick fan would be lying if he didn't say he pulled out some voodoo dolls and tried to get some injuries to happen. You know what I mean? So to get a little leg up. That's a real Knick fan. But that's exciting to know, man. I love these type of things. I love to learn what was going on that nobody knew about at these crucial times through the history of the game. Oh, I would have been ecstatic. You know what I mean? I would have been like, oh my God. And I know New York would have been ecstatic and got too loud. They would have leaked it. It would have been everywhere. They would have blew it anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a great possibility. Let me even add this too to your discussion, Talent. If social media was there at the time, I think it would have leaked out. I think it could have leaked out. You know what I mean? Social media and everybody their own reporter. You know what I mean? It's really hard to keep a secret now versus it was in 1990, 91. Stack, since you didn't get a chance to answer the last question, I'm gonna let you answer this next question. I don't know if you heard it. The question is we're talking about Michael Jordan almost sneaking over to the Knicks in the 90-91 season. There was a great possibility that the Knicks had planned movement and to be able to lure him away when Michael Jordan was having issues with, of course, the management and the ownership of the Chicago Bulls. They almost were able to get him. If that had happened, what would your thoughts have been in Michael Jordan finishing his career, or somewhat of his career, as a New York Knick?
Well, the Knicks wouldn't have had as long of a championship drought as they did. That's for sure. Legacy wise, I think it would be the same. Because the Bulls organization is one of the premier organizations still in the league, just in their name, just because of what MJ did. The Knicks, the city of New York is known for basketball, even though the Knicks aren't that great. So I don't think it would have made much of a difference for either Mike or the Knicks if he had made that move, outside of just championships going to the Knicks, which they just probably will never find again.
All right, let me say this. Fig, before I throw it to you, let me say this. If Michael Jordan had gone to the Knicks would have won all the championships that the Bulls won. There's no doubt about that, because the Knicks had the team. They had the team to win at that time. You know what I mean? They had everybody. So the biggest Knicks fan on the panel, tell me what you think, Fig. What do you think if Jordan had gone to the Knicks? Would you have liked it or not liked it?
Yeah, man. I mean, like Talent said, just to piggyback off what he said, we did have a love-hate relationship with Mike. Loved him. Mike playing other teams, hated him when he played the Knicks. That's the one thing about what I would consider a New York fan is that we love our basketball.
Hello?
Yeah.
Sports, and definitely basketball is concerned. To have Mike playing with Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, John Starks, it's like, whoa. And it add a little caveat to it. If Mike comes over at that late stage in the game, he probably doesn't retire. He probably plays a few more years because the only reason he left is, that big problem in Chicago with Jerry Reinsdorf, man, and them wanting to get rid of Phil Jackson. I actually see possibly Phil Jackson coming over at a later date once he got fired and possibly coaching the Knicks. What do you mean? No, they fired him.
Let me finish. No, Michael Jordan retired because his father got killed. That was one main catalyst for him retiring. His father got killed.
You talking about the first time or the last time?
I'm talking about when he retired. I'm not talking about the first or last time. The time he retired, that started the whole retirement ball was because people will add him for gambling, and then his father retired after he won. His father died after he won the first 3 championships. He won the first 3 championships in the early 90s. So if he came into the Bulls, if he came to the Knicks in 90, 99, 91, 92, 93, his father had died, he would have still had retired. I don't care what team he would have played for. He would have been like, I'm out. Whether it's the Knicks or whatever. So I disagree with that statement wholeheartedly.
It's funny to hear talk about a potential super team. It's just funny. It's funny to hear that, people that, talk about how the super team thing is supposedly new now. And, LeBron and, we take credit from dudes because of super teams. But now it would have been okay for Jordan to go to the Knicks.
That wasn't a super team.
That's not what we were talking about. That wasn't the thing.
And that wasn't a super team. Let me just clarify
with Michael Jordan. Let
me clarify my statement. First off, I got a little confused about the date and the time. What I thought you were talking about was Michael Jordan's last year of the Bulls before he retired from the Bulls, when the Bulls organization was trying to get rid of Phil Jackson. That's my mistake. I made a mistake on that. I wasn't talking about the first 3 years when his father got killed and all that stuff like that. I'm talking about when he was actually going to leave the Bulls anyway. That's all I was talking about.
Okay, well, the topic was, you're right. The topic was when the Knicks were trying to lure Jordan away, was at according to the article, and I read it quickly, but according to the article, he was trying to get close. He was having real major issues. Like we saw that document. Remember that document we saw on Netflix? He was talking about how he was having issues with the management and everything else. That's when the Knicks decided to scoop in and try to lure him away because he was sick and tired of dealing with it. And that was after. It started at the beginning of the first 3 championships, but right at the end, when his father died, was when the Knicks was coming in and trying to have a conversation with him to lure him away. So it's either the first 3 championships or the next 3 championships. Around that time, he was literally about to be out. So I don't know. But let me talk about the next thing, since we're talking about NBA history. Tal, I'm gonna start with you with this. Julius Erving gave his top 10 list of best NBA players, right? And Julius Erving did not include LeBron James in his top 10 talents of NBA players. Now, it could be because Julius Erving, who's Dr. J, it could be because he's older. It could be because whatever you want to say. But if Julius Erving does not include LeBron James, what does that tell you in his top 10? What's your thoughts about that? Talent, I can't hear you. Your thing's out.
I just think that it's a generational thing. I just think that he's played with bigger caliber players in a different time where we already, let's face it, we already know that those of us of a certain age know that there was a tougher time to play basketball. So when you factor that in and you take Dr. J, who's played in the toughest time, who prevailed, fought through that, he knows what his judgment is when he picks his top players. I don't think it's a slight. I just think it's a different generational thing where he's saying, I play with all these guys. LeBron's good. He's great, but these guys were great too. So if I pick my top 10, I got to go with what I know as opposed to what I'm seeing in a whole different league. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I cannot disagree with you. Stack, I'm gonna go to you because I know you can't stay much longer. So, Stack, what's your thoughts about Dr. J not including LeBron James on his best top 10 list of all-time players to play? What do you think?
I mean, I think it's definitely his prerogative to pick whoever he wants in his top 10. I don't think LeBron should take it personal, but I do to some degree see it kind of as some shade. And then I just think that it always will be a shade on any new generation athlete being left off of all-time lists because of that same reason. Like Talon says, people say it was a harder time to play in the league, which I don't necessarily agree with fully. So I think it's kind of shady just off the fact that back in the 70s, dudes wasn't even taking care of their bodies as much. Dudes was on coke. There was white boys in the league that wouldn't even make my varsity basketball team back in those days when Dr. J was playing. That's why Jordan was able to get the competitive advantage over a lot of guys, and he talked about it, how the fact that he was just able to outwork everyone and outperform everyone because he just was a professional about playing basketball. So I don't know. I think it is kind of shady to leave somebody like LeBron when considering he's going to be top 10 in every statistical category, and he has the size and the physical gifts to compete in any era. So yeah, I think it is a little shady, personally.
All right, you all, Fig and Talent, you guys hear the reason why I don't like having these young boys on the show? You hear it? That's the exact reason why. Because he disrespected the dudes who played in the league a long time ago.
I'm not disrespecting the dudes just by saying that dudes was on coke back then.
Okay, so let's look at it like this. Going with your theory, Stacks. And they didn't take care of them bodies. They was on coke. They did all this stuff that was not as good as today, right? And yet prevail through tougher times. That's what you got to look at. If I take a guy who don't hit the gym and he's as good as the guy who's in the gym 6 times a day, what does that say?
No, but look at the level of competition. How is a coach going to keep up with Michael Jordan?
Stack, you're absolutely wrong, bro. You compared the guys in the 70s to the guys in the 90s. It's 2 different eras. Greg,
I'm not. Now, y'all are missing my point. My point is...
First off,
hold on, Stack. Hold on. Let Fig go. Fig, go ahead.
First off, Doc, his career didn't start in the 70s, so I don't know where
it did. Yes, it did.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, not in the NBA. He was in the if he did, he was playing somewhere else. It wasn't in the NBA in the 70s.
No, he was in the ABA.
He played in the ABA first, and then he came over towards the tail. Like the best years of Dr. J was in the ABA. That was his peak. That was his prime. He was in the ABA. Then he came over to the NBA, and he played the tail end of his career. And he was able to capture a championship with Moses Malone and, some other players with the Sixers and stuff like that. Here's the thing, is that I can't slight a man for living and knowing history and being a student of the game and a superstar of the game, looking at his era, the era before him, the era after him, and several eras after him, and choosing the greatest of possibly 4 different decades, 4 or 5, and then saying, these are my top 10 guys I competed against, or guys that are around that era that I choose to say I believe are the greatest. The one and only slight that I ever feel that anybody has about leaving LeBron James off of all-time great list is because you just take a man who was born in Ohio, from Akron, played for a team in Cleveland, and at the height of his career, he chose to leave to go join another guy's team. You know what I mean? Which in the name of Dwayne Wade. And then when Kyrie gets to Cleveland, he decides to come back. Then he goes to LA, but when he gets to LA, the team that he has is not good enough. So he recruits another all-time top 5 player to come and play with him. The beginning of it is really what knocks it down for, I believe, a lot of guys. When he leaves his hometown, his home team at the peak of his career, and leaves to join another team. And I think, the older school, they just frown upon that. I can't hate on that. Because
The thing, my issue with the older school is they frown upon everything. They pick young dudes apart, but you can't say nothing about their era. You can't say nothing about the lack of professionalism that was going on in the NBA, the fact that dudes wasn't working out in the offseason. You can't say nothing about the fact let me finish. You can't say nothing about the fact that in the 70s there was dudes in the league that wouldn't even make it to varsity basketball these days. There was dudes in the league that had no business in the NBA back then. Let's just be real. Yo, we will take
who do you think don't belong?
We'll look at somebody like Bill Russell. And we'll downplay his 8 championships because we'll go, well, look who was in the league back then. But then all of a sudden in the 70s, the league was world beaters. All of a sudden.
You just contradicted yourself.
I'm not contradicting myself. I'm saying the old school, y'all pick dudes apart. If LeBron stayed in Cleveland, right, and never won a chip and won 1 billion MVPs, y'all would just be like, oh, well, he never got a ring, so he's not an all-time great. If he leaves teams and he goes and wins a championship, you're going to pick him apart about something else. That's just the truth.
But that's everybody. But Stacks, this is why you contradict yourself. Everybody from every era got picked apart, believe it or not. The same what we're talking about right now, if you go back 20 years before this show, there's another sports show, somebody's picking somebody else apart. Picking apart's never going to go away. The one thing, the common denominator, no matter if you played in the 70s or 2020, everyone picks apart the best players of each era. That's just what best brings you. When I go to a comic club, they're going to pick me apart. They're going to throw the kitchen sink because they want to see if it's the real deal. They're going to put all your numbers up, all your stats up, and see how you did it, when you did it, why you did it, to come with an overall assessment of who you are as a player.
Okay, then. So if you're going to tell me, a dude that's been dominating the NBA for 2 decades now?
Let's Stack. Let me say something to you.
All time in points, rebounds, and assists.
Stack, let me tell you something. When Michael Jordan was at the height of his career, he was picked apart like he was going through the shredder.
Yep. I get it.
That's everybody. That's everybody.
I remember when they did it to Kobe. What I'm saying is, you mean to tell me that a dude who's going to finish his career in the top 10, probably top 7 of points, rebounds, and assists, took care of his body, didn't get hurt, was healthy every season, played from age 18 to damn near 40 in the league. You going to tell me that person doesn't deserve to be on an all-time top 10 list?
No, I'm not telling you that. I'm not telling you that. Dr. J is saying that.
No, but that was just my point. I said it's his. I started off by saying it's his opinion. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. See, that's the thing you got to respect. You got to respect that guy's opinion.
That's how I started it off, though.
But you just got mad your last line. You gonna tell me?
No, I didn't get mad.
What it is? 20 years, and it wasn't big, and you gonna tell me, and nigga eat Fruity Pebbles?
Because what I'm saying, that's me talking about how I feel like it's shade. That's why I'm saying it's shade.
Right, but you can't do that to somebody else's thing. Is what I'm saying. If Dr. J, who he's Dr. J, do we not respect that?
Yes.
Yeah, he's
okay.
Dr. J.
So, we gotta respect he's Dr. J. So if Dr. J's top 10, you can't let it piss you off, bro.
I'm not mad about it. It's really just it's the era thing, because I feel like this era, they have respect for the old heads, but there's a lot of old heads.
Stack, let me just say something to you.
I agree with that too, though, Stack, because that's a money thing. That's a money thing, by the way, but go ahead.
Oh, no, Stack, let me say something to you. Let me make it as plain as I can make it. If you was to go outside and play ball right now, right, and you dropped in the time machine, and I dropped you into 1955, Roxbury, Hut.
I'm Steph Curry, if that's the case. If you drop me in I'm killing them.
All right, but you're making my point. You're making
dribbling with both hands, head up.
Stack, listen to me. Listen to me. The point I'm trying to make is errors matter because of the simple fact being the ball players get better every era. They get better every era. So we're not complaining about the players in the 70s, because in the 70s everybody was like that. In the 60s everybody was on the same era. Everybody played the same. So right. You're going to be the best of. If you're the best of that era, then we have to give you the crown because of that era. Believe it or not, 20 years from now, people like Steph Curry will be the norm. It would be the norm. People shoot, because these little kids running around right now are shooting threes like I've never seen before. It's changed the game. Like it's not. This is not the way it is right now. Back in when Dr.
So can we respect it? Could we just respect it? Is all I'm saying.
Hold on, when Dr. J came in the league, believe it or not, there was a dude named David Thompson who was destroying everybody. He was a beast. He didn't get all of the accolades, and now Stack going to go out. He didn't get all the accolades.
Let me just say this, because I know even if he's not on, he can hear. Here's just a list of guys that were picked apart, if you will, criticized, critiqued. Michael Jordan was said to be a great player, a great scorer, but he'd never win. That's what they said about Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. They talked about Kobe Bryant, how selfish he was, and that he was never going to be able to carry a team without Shaq. They talked about Patrick Ewing. They talked about Charles Barkley. They talked about Shaquille O'Neal because they said he never came to camp in shape. They talked about every great player in their era until the players broke through and won. And the only reason I think they talk about LeBron is because he joined these other players. You know what I mean? In his prime, it's almost like Talent said, selling out. It's almost like you selling what belongs to you to go and be a part of somebody else's thing. That was his team. It was his city. It was the team, the organization. It belonged to him. He left that to go be with somebody else, and I think that's something that we frown upon. It just is what it is.
All right, let me just move this conversation on. Our guest officially canceled. I had another guest who canceled. I don't know what our batting record right now.
We gotta go with my guest, man.
We'll get to that part. It's pathetic when these NFL dudes decide they want to, they don't want to come on. I don't know. Anyway, let me move on to a couple of things in the NFL because we all know the draft is tomorrow, right? Draft is tomorrow. The draft is going to be the biggest thing right now. Actually, I think it's one of the most exciting drafts we've had in years. I'm gonna throw this out to you. This is my big topic right now, Talent, and I don't know why people aren't talking about it, but my thing is Deshaun Watson going to get traded before the draft? What's going to happen with Deshaun Watson's case? What are we going to do? What's Houston going to do? Big topic right now. He's facing 22 cases right now. None of them are criminal. They all are criminal. His value has dropped. What's the word? Precipitously. His value went literally. It bottomed out. And according to Sports Illustrated, there was a bidding war for Deshaun Watson that literally bottomed out before the first sexual allegations. Now there's no bidding war at all. The 4 teams that were in on it don't want to be in on it right now with him at all. So, Talent, what the hell's going to happen to Deshaun Watson?
Well, I think what's going to happen is this, man. It's called the old bait and switch reverse psychology. I think the interest is still there, but I think the optics is to act like the interest isn't still there because you get something on sale. Mm-hmm. So I say that to say that bidding war, yes, they're going to report that it's no longer going on, even though in their minds, that I bet you that paper didn't get shredded or ripped up. They still want them, but the thing is to act like we don't really care or don't want them, because if he gets worked up enough where he needs to leave, I just want to get the hell out of here. Trust, Deshaun Watson is going to go on sale, and whoever's get him is going to get him a lot better, financially accommodating than they would have got him if they were bidding in the war. So I think that he should get traded. I think he should, he's already asked for it or whatever and demanded whatever. But I just think that the powers that be want to drag this thing out and want to teach him a lesson. They're teaching a lesson. They're making him an example of him right now. He's the poster child right now for what we're going to start doing going forward for all you powerful blacks that get a little too big for your britches. But yeah, I think he should be traded.
So you're thinking, okay, here's my thought process. Let me throw it to Fig. Let me throw it to Fig first before I tell you my thoughts. Fig, what's your thoughts? Go ahead, Fig.
Deshaun Watson got what Paul Mooney calls the ninja wake-up call.
Yeah.
It's a ninja wake-up call. It's like, I'm going to use an analogy. Talent, you're going to love this. It's like when you break up with a woman and she says, you want to break up with me? Why? What did I do? I gave you the best years of my life and you want to break up with me? You got a lot of nerve wanting to break up with me. Then she goes and destroys your stuff. Basically, what she's doing is costing you money. It's the same thing that they're doing to Deshaun Watson in a different way. You talking about you want to leave me after all I did for you? I paid you all this money. I drafted you, and I made you successful here on my team, and you want to leave me? That's it. And they costing them money. And that's what this whole suit is about, because clearly they didn't come out and say, oh, we want to lock you up and put you in jail. No, they bought civil suits first, and they tried to extort them, and we're going to cost you money. And that's always the American way. When they upset with you, they take away your ability to earn a living, and they cost you money.
The problem I have with the Deshaun Watson thing is that the teams that did want him will probably still want him again, but everybody will have their quarterback. Everybody will have basically be set for the year as if Deshaun Watson's not coming. So his value is going to go down. The ability to go to places he might have wanted to go play for are going to be like, because let's look at the Jets for example. The Jets have the most picks more than anybody. The morning after the draft, Friday morning, maybe Monday morning, they're going to have everybody that they want. You know what I mean? Not to say that they probably still won't make a move for Deshaun Watson if they could, but if you're a real good coach, a head coach, I'm sitting there thinking that if I made all these strategic moves because I knew Deshaun Watson is off the table, would I take the risk, Talent, to say, let me add him and then mess up my thing? What do you think, Talent?
It's a good theory. I would go more with what Fig just said. That is a perfect analogy, because that's right now we're just dealing with vindictiveness. We're not even dealing with actual sport problems. This is just straight up and down vindictiveness. It's the girlfriend. It's the lady that you spent 10 years, you thought you was getting married, year number 10 and a half, 11. It didn't work out. I'm going my separate way. She is furious because people hate wasting their time. They thought they were building a franchise on this guy's back. Somewhere along the line, he felt slighted or disrespected and decides he don't want to be there no more. He's unhappy. How dare you be unhappy? And I think that's what we're dealing with here. I do believe that because of his talents, and we all know this in entertainment and sports, your talents, how people feel about you, if you're worth it, they will still put up with the BS. You know, they will slap you on the hand, slap you on the wrist, fine you left and right, call you all types of names in the book, but they're still going to make money off that cash cow. You're a cash cow.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Everything you just said sounds right to me, man. Fig, you have a rebuttal on that?
Yeah, just the last thing is that, you know, in contrary to what you say, I think there's only a handful of teams that wouldn't be willing to bench their quarterback for Deshaun Watson. Patrick Mahomes, maybe Aaron Rodgers, you know, who else? I mean, because Deshaun Watson, you know, before this whole controversy came out, he was considered number 2 or 1A, 1B behind Patrick Mahomes. And with the, you know, complementary weapons, he may have been just as good or maybe a slight tick better than Patrick Mahomes if he had the right team around him. So who's not willing to adjust their roster to be able to get Deshaun Watson if that opportunity presents itself, even after the draft?
But notice, here's the thing. Notice how we don't hear. We don't hear to talk about Deshaun Watson. I don't see articles about Deshaun Watson. Talk radio's not talking about Deshaun Watson. Everything's not happening. But last week, Deshaun Watson had a panel of his accusers. Once they got outed by the judge, they said they wanted to sit there and face him. They did that. Haven't heard nothing about that since. Nothing. I mean, literally smoke. Nothing. I looked for it. Didn't hear nothing about it. He showed up. You know what I mean? Like Houston press did not report anything that happened out of Houston once Deshaun faced his accusers. You all noticing something? If he had any slight where he was like they were on him throwing and it looked bad, it would have been all over the place.
Yeah.
You see what's going on here?
Yeah. That's
blackball.
Hey, you heard of voter suppression?
Right.
That's information suppression. Like the information we got out of it didn't help our case any bit, so ain't no need in reporting it. Now, like you said, had it went awry or left in any way, that would have been splattered off every billboard through the state of Texas. Oh, this guy's horrible. You see this happen, this happened. I think basically, like you said before, we watched a few of the girls' storylines get ripped at the seams. So we know that this was people. These girls didn't come out. Let's be honest. One thing I gather from all the information, most of these girls were found.
Right.
They didn't come out. That's different. It's different when women come out and say, "Hey, this happened." You too? Hey, that's not this case. This case is you got one. Surely we could find more. All you need was a little bit of information, like, well, he uses different masseuses all the time. He does. Let's get the name of those masseuses. And you go, hey, this could be big money for you. And you're a masseuse, and you're like, really? Yeah, once we get the thing steamball rolling, we're talking about everybody walking away with millions. Who's not going to embellish a little bit?
Yeah.
I had a masseuse one time. It was Dr. Masseuse.
I'm gonna ask you this, Tal. If you're the Jets,
no, I'm just saying. You know the way they get you when a prosecution really want to get you, and they have to give up information. There's one little paper that will exonerate you in the evidence to prove your innocence. And what they do, they slide that document into a stack of papers, and they put it in a box, and then they send you 20 boxes of all information, and now you got to find the needle in the haystack. And that's how they do you. Even though you're innocent, they just want you to be able to find that one little piece of information. They exonerate you, and they hide it amongst thousands of documents. And you got to have a whole team to comb through it to be able to find that one little piece.
if you're the Jets, talent, what do you do? Do you still press tomorrow? Tomorrow's draft. You still press tomorrow and offer Houston, say, listen, we know he's going through these problems, but we still want Deshaun. Do you do that if you're the Jets?
Absolutely. We're in New York. We're not scared of anything. So, give us him. If we right now, you guys have not criminalized him. You guys have not thrown anything against the wall that's mega and sticking. You're saying the same thing over and over again. It's becoming monotonous. And hey, we'll take them. You know what I mean? We'll take that gamble. If people could take a gamble, people have taken bigger gambles in the history of sports. We'll take that gamble in New York Jets.
All right, Craig, you agree with him about the Jets?
I agree with him 100%. And just think about the New York town that you're talking about, Frank. We watched Latrell Sprewell choke his coach on national TV, and the New York Knicks said,
"That's our guy.
That's what we want. Yeah, bring him here. This is New York. We want that smoke. Bring that right here." Mm-hmm. It's Deshaun Watson, baby. He's probably he's top 2 in the NFL as far as quarterbacks that we've seen perform. And if any other team can get their hands on him, they want him.
Here's a Pelican brief, baby. Here's a Pelican brief, Frank. What if, hypothetical, what if, because we spent 2 weeks bitching about our Jets front office for getting rid of Sam Donald. What if they have an inside track and knew they were going to get Deshaun Watson?
Oh!
And that's why they did what they did. They knew everybody was going to be like, "Are you crazy? Why would you do that? Blah, blah, blah." But behind the scenes, they know that the powers that be and all the things in the works that they're going to be bringing in a Deshaun Watson. What if?
You know what? That's one of the best Pelican briefs I've heard all year, bro.
I like it.
Because you know what the problem is? Not even the problem. You know what the great thing is for the Jets? They have the most picks more than any team in the next 2 or 3 years. They can offer a boatload. And maybe the behind the scenes thing is Deshaun doesn't want to go to the Jets. And maybe Houston is doing this to force him to say, hey, nobody else wants you. The Jets want you. We'll give you all these we're going to get all these picks in return. And you'll be in New York. And then you can take all your problems in. And if you agree, all these so-called cases will just
goes away.
Yeah, probably so-called. What we don't know is what's happening behind the scenes right now, especially after Deshaun Watson's accusers last Friday faced him. We don't know. I haven't heard nothing. That's the crazy thing.
I only heard one thing. I heard after he faced all his accusers, he did get one more massage.
they all talent. They all had to massage him at the same time.
They had to lay him out, and when they were leaving the courtroom, everybody reached over and did like one of these on the way out.
All right, let me ask you last question of this show, man. I'm gonna before we get ready to roll up out of here. This morning, day before the draft, I don't know if you guys have known this and everything else. They lined up all the stats between Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. They laid out all the stats.
Right.
You're going to be surprised. Actually, you probably won't be. But Justin Fields has more stats in almost every category than Trevor Lawrence. But Trevor Lawrence is going number 1 in the draft. What's your thoughts when you hear that, Talent?
Wow. Well, it takes me right back to what we just was talking about in Deshaun Watson in Texas and controlling the narrative. We've watched in the history of sports and drafts that because of placing, somebody's making more money depending on how high you go. So whoever's controlling the narrative, whoever's controlling that, they've done a great job of facading the information you just said and making this guy be above this guy when this guy's stats are better than this guy.
Right.
So there's money in that and benefit in that for some powers that be. And unfortunately, no one should be able to do that, but they are. And that's what's going on right here. Somebody's going to benefit more by swapping that thing right there and making that narrative, controlling that narrative to look like it is.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Fig, what you think?
You know, the funny thing is like the Jedi mind trick. You know, sports is supposed to be a meritocracy. You know, the one meritocracy that we're supposed to have in this country that is without spot, wrinkle, or blemish. You're supposed to put the best person on the team or on the field or court or whatever. But here's the thing. We saw Justin go up against Trevor Lawrence. We saw the teams play against each other. And Justin Fields that team beat the crap out of him. They beat him. They beat him head to head. You watch them beat him. But they'll spin and tell you that Trevor Lawrence is better than Justin Fields. To the point where Justin Fields is not even projected to go number 2. He might drop all the way down as far as 10. And we've seen the stats. We've seen him go head to head and know that this kid is better. And because, look, you know me, I think it's the white quarterback still to this day has a stigmatism in the NFL. It still does to this day.
Yeah. I'm going to close the show with my final thought. And I'm going to say at the end of the careers and everything else, I would not be surprised if Justin Fields has a better NFL career than Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to throw that out there. I wouldn't be surprised. But Trevor Lawrence does have a great arm, but at the end of the day, too, it's not always about your arm. It's about championships, right? It's not about how great you can throw. It's championship. Oh, yeah, that too. All right, y'all. We got to get ready to go out of here, especially so I can eat my lunch. Talent, everybody out there.
You got to run, Frank. You always talk about you're going to take us out. What you got?
You tell you what, meet me at Hilltop. You meet me, you stay right there. I'll be right there.
That's hilarious. Hey, y'all can find me. It's just comedy, Twitter, Talent the Comedian, Instagram, King Talent Harris on Facebook. And we got a super duper guest tomorrow, Frank.
Tell everybody.
Oh, tomorrow's super duper guest is no other than the senior, the father of the leader of the number 1 team right now, first place in the NBA, the Utah Jazz. Donovan Mitchell will be on the box seats tomorrow. Senior. Dad.
There you go. Fig, tell everybody how they can follow you.
Boy, that's dope. That's dope. Spider's father, God dog it, is going to be on the thing. You can follow Comedian Fig at all social media platform right there. At Comedian Fig is right there. You can read it. It's at the bottom. But Monday through Friday, baby, it's the box seats. 1 to 2 p.m. This is the best damn sports show on TV. If you don't believe me, ask your mama.
There you go. Y'all know the name of the show. The time we on 1 to 2. The channel is the Humor Mill. Thank you all for watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all heard about who the guest is going to be, but we're on the Humor Mill channel. The show's the box seats 1 to 2. Thank you all for watching. We'll see y'all. I got to go eat, man. Y'all, peace. I'm starving.